Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Two Girls Talk Transits. Today we're reviewing the astrology from September 8th through September 14th, and we're your hosts. I'm Maddie,
And I'm Kaleigh.
and welcome back. So, we are coming off of that September shift, I think is like the good words, where we had the new moon and we had Mars enter Cancer. And starting on September 8th, that Sun in Virgo is going to come opposite Saturn in Pisces. And so this is a little bit of a return back to that new moon in Virgo. The new moon in Virgo was just a couple degrees away from that opposition with Saturn, and now the sun is kind of completing it. And this is like that week after the new moon almost. So we're also gearing up to like that first quarter moon where you're more compelled to like take action or move forward in your life. But I think you're going to be becoming more aware of where you have a limitation or restriction to your new moon intentions, I think, with the Saturn element.
hmm Do you feel like this action that we're wanting to take is more so in the Virgo area of life or in the Pisces area of life where we're getting ready to experience the eclipses?
I think it's both. Like when you learn the houses in astrology, you learn the houses individually, but you also learn them on the axis.
Right.
So whatever axis that there are, they kind of use both sides of that dynamic to support each other's intentions. So like if Virgo, just easy example, if Virgo's your first house rising, and you're wanting to take a lot of action for who you are, you're making these personal self-development choices, or you're cutting your hair, doing something fun for yourself.
hmm
But, you do those things and value for yourself, but your closest partnerships and relationships with the seventh house Pisces opposite Virgo has a lot of say to how you feel about yourself sometimes. Or like, they will kind of critique that or be like, I don't like that style. And then you have to, it's a restriction that imposes on your first house goals, but it's related to both in a way. So it's both. It's probably more just the faster, quicker moving activity is definitely in Virgo, so it's probably starting there, but I think you're not forgetting Pisces in this mix, I think.
hmm Yeah. So the limitation is gonna come more from the Pisces where Saturn sits, more
Yeah.
from the Pisces area. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is like whenever you get to the sun opposite Saturn period of time, it's a once a year experience. It is just always more of a slower, more grounding time in a positive way. And if you think about it, we're coming off of Leo season, we're coming off of a very solar summer, and then it's like shit gets real. You go back to school. You get to your routines again. You got to meet your responsibilities, like everything that's like it's less about you and just more about contributing to society again.
Yeah, well, I think that, makes sense. As we get ready to kick off the fall, we're a bit more in a head down mode instead of I mean, we're not completely head down because that would be more like winter season, but we get a little bit more serious, I think, with our energy. Summer's more like for fun and play, and then fall, I guess it depends. I know some people love the fall, and have play in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the orientation of your chart, particularly like which which zodiacal signs are in the bottom half of your chart, especially in the bottom right quadrant of your chart. Um, that's like a very more deeper, kind of more internal time, slowing down time, I feel like.
Mhm.
So things like that can impact it a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also true. That would be very interesting to see match up the seasons with your chart and see.
Yeah, I do it all the time because I go through it with everyone like, oh, well, like your day chart. So like the Mars ruled houses are generally the harder seasons too of your time. Or like if your night chart, the Saturn ruled, so Capricorn Aquarius seasons are usually harder. Like winter is always such a big hate. Everyone hates on winter, but it's because of Saturn.
That's true. That's so true. Yeah, I would say like my hardest time is probably like at the end of the winter, like near my birthday, and that's
Mm.
like at the top. Like the southern hemisphere is like at the top, right?
Yeah.
So that area of my chart. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the little like start of this week, but luckily Mercury returns to Virgo on the 9th of September, and this is going to bring a lot more help to the sun. Mercury is like this event planner, I feel like, with its little clipboard and checklist and like walking in back to Virgo, like, all right, did we do this? Did we do this? Did we do this? And, kind of getting everyone back in line and order and actually is a little more clear about things. So I think it's going to be kind of like the energy really starts to pick up in terms of like what we're cleaning out, what we're clearing away around the night.
Yeah, so I think if you felt like a little bit chaotic during Mercury retrograde, this will be like to the tying up of some loose ends or like you said, like reordering things. Yeah. I think, Mercury and Virgo would be a big cleanup energy. So it'd be good also for, just like organizing your space and just like yeah, feeling like resting into more organization, I would feel, instead of like allowing things to be chaotic. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's getting more. Mercury in Virgo is like a very accepting sign, but it's because it's like it's very much a problem solver in the way, like, okay, I'm accepting that this is the reality. So, like, I'm not going to try and change that, but I'm going to work with what I have and make this better. So, sometimes I feel like the sun, being our ego and our attachment, has trouble accepting what Saturn imposes on us. Like, we get really attached or hurt, or we take it personally. And Mercury has that element of detaching from the situation. Like, this is not personal. This is just the situation that you're in. So, this is how we can solve it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. I think because our ego usually wants to like fight. Sometimes it wants to like fight against reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Mercury can be there to be like, all right, let's just like radically accept the way things are and like change the small things that we can and, deal with what's in front of us.
Yeah, exactly. And
Mm.
it's it's nicer. Like Mercury too is ending its shadow period in time on the 11th of September. So that's where we exit this whole cycle of revisitation, review, questioning, uncertainty, and kind of move on to our next forward momentum and direction.
Right. So Mercury actually stationed direct last week. When was it exactly?
August 28th.
Oh, so a week and a half ago almost.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, but
moving a lot quicker now. It's direct.
right, right. Yeah. So, yeah, we had some like lingering feelings of still like a little bit retrograde because of the shadow
Mhm.
period. So we should be fully out of that by the 11th. I've been feeling still like it's not like fully there yet.
No, it's always like a slow kind of restart, and then it just Mercury moves, like its speed changes so much. And so like speed's an important determining when you're looking at astrology charts, like how fast is the planet moving shows how well it's performing.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever Mercury is stationing, it's still so slow, but then it picks up speed so fast. So like this part of September, Mercury's gonna be moving like its fastest speed. So like you should be feeling that like, okay, I'm moving forward now and like kind of progressing through life.
Yeah, I was just reading about this actually about how when like planets are retrograde, it's like they're like of very little help to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like their like vibrancy is like totally diminished. So when they move back direct, we can feel that like we have access to them again. Like they're not being dimmed down or like put out.
They're just obsessing over past events that have already happened that are not, conducive to moving forward and producing more, changing more. They're just kind of in this kind of rumination experience. So it is a little, it's like everything's so much slower because you're questioning, you're second guessing yourself all the time with that.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So we'll feel a lot more help. And too, on the 11th, September, Mercury will sextile Mars, who's fresh in Cancer. And yeah, it's Mars in Cancer. We talked about it last week, but that gives us a little more kick in our step, gives us a little more momentum. Mercury can probably give Mars some to-do lists of things to do to stay occupied and productive or helpful in a way. So it's like, you probably have a little bit more of a grounded approach to life, hopefully by the 11th.
Yeah. I mean, in any case, I think you would be, even if you're not taking any specific action, you might be really thinking about this Mars and Cancer placement. Like it's just really like cognitive, like kind of going over things and reviewing and seeing like where do I want to take action. I feel like it might be that spark of like the download comes in, like this is what I want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it may be a moment too where like you're meeting the cognitive side of your planning and decision making too with your feelings and your intuitive side. Like, when you have like a plan, you're like, I don't feel like doing this, but I have to do this. That can be like Mercury and Virgo, but then like, oh, this feels exciting. I want to do this. It feels good to do this. That can be more Mars and Cancer. And so these two align, which is nice.
That is true. Yeah.
And then we end the week with a little bit of a vibe shift that I think is nice because we are building up to the first eclipse. So things always get more unstable near eclipses, in terms of like what you can rely on. But on the 12th of September, we'll have the sun in Virgo square Jupiter and Gemini. And that's a cute, like, it's a square aspect, but these two in a square aspect is not a big issue. And we got to remind ourselves that the ruler of both these planets is an exalted place. So there's probably a lot of excitement, like a lot of optimism, a lot of it, like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm getting yeses from this, and I'm getting all these ideas, all these downloads, all this, like, very mercurial. It's probably going to be hard to stay in
Grounded.
like one direction. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Like I think you're gonna maybe do too much. That's gonna be your downfall.
Yeah. You might be a little bit like, woohoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's okay. We could all use like a little pick me up, We could all use like some excitement and some like hopefulness towards the future. And I feel like Jupiter like definitely infuses that. It's like Jupiter is very much like future focused. So can just have you feeling like you said optimistic about future goals and plans.
Yeah. And it's you feeling like, oh, I can do all of this. Like, Jupiter's very affirming. It's very much like the validating sign that like wants to boost your self-esteem, and then the sun being our self-esteem is just very much like, yeah, you can do this and this and this and that too and get it all done. And like so the side of that is just like overexertion, putting too much on your plate. I think with Mercury here, hopefully you can be particular about what you actually want to focus on, what you can put off to the side that's not important.
Yeah, maybe it would be a good time to determine like how does like if you like when you're getting all these like good ideas or like like directions that you could go, maybe it would be just like a good time to be like, okay, like where do I see myself in 6 months and what are the steps? Like what are the things that are going to take me to where I want to be in 6 months? And that can help you like kind of tunnel the energy to be like starting things that are gonna be helpful.
Right, exactly. Like use some of the forethought, look
Mm-hmm.
ahead about like what or why are we actually doing these things? What are you actually doing these for? Like kind of reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
Um, then it's like this cute like day where it's just like a lot more faith in the process, I think. And then this aspect technically happens like 1 a.m. on the 15th, but I've included it for this week because it's like the same energy as that Venus in Libra is trining Jupiter and Gemini on the 14th of September.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it
I
is.
mean, I mean, yeah, Jupiter's still in Gemini, but Venus is in her domicile in Libra. Those two are making a strong trine 120-degree aspect. Um, just really sweet for relationships, for feeling expansive, which in partnerships and things that you enjoy and have fun with, you know?
Yeah, this can be like a really good time for spending time with friends, spending time with romantic partners, just feeling like good in that space of like shared partnership in whatever way that looks. Yeah, for you.
Yeah, and two, it can be like whatever sort of like big cognitive idea you got perhaps from that sun square Jupiter around the 12th. Then you have this big sort of plan, emotion in place, and then Jupiter trines Venus, and it's like gathering your community, your resources, the things that you need to actually put this in action. And it's, oh, it's like easier than you thought it would be. Like something like that, where there's just a lot more flow. That's what the benefics give us in astrology is things flow. There's no abrasion, there's no conflict with that.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, that would be perfect, like a perfect interpretation for Venus and Libra too, like just gathering your community and your people who want to support you in
Mhm.
whatever it is, or maybe you even go to support somebody else in their ideas, or it can be either way, you know?
Yeah, and even if it's maybe if it's not that legit, with relationships, it can also just be the things that are beautiful, that are aesthetically pleasing. Like Um, I feel like the Venus and Taurus objects, relationships with things are usually things that are like your fixed comforts. But Venus and Libra, the aesthetics can be more of like new ideas, new kind of, it's like the new fashion trend to try out, like go shopping, try something new, like push the boundaries of your aesthetics and try something fun with that. And it expands your mind and your experience as well with that connection to Jupiter. So it can be that too. It doesn't all have to be
Like material.
relationships. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. So fun little note to end on. That's a cliffhanger. We got the eclipse coming up.
Yeah, we
So
do. We got something, some kind of new energy. If you've been waiting for any kind of like shift or change, like eclipses usually bring that. So buckle up.
yeah, yeah, that's for sure. So that is that's pretty much all I have. Anything else that you wanted to add for this week?
No, that's all. I think we have a nice little end of the week, like some good energy to look forward to. So, yeah, I think that's
Yeah. Well, applicants or applications for our astrology program are still going on. And so we're love to talk to you about that if that's something you're interested in. Again, it's our 6 month long-term kind of learn astrology as well as learn how to integrate it and use those tools for healing and personal development. Both Kaylee and I will be leading weekly calls for that. So it's a very much hands-on sort of program and it starts September 22nd. So be sure to reach out to us either on Instagram or TikTok at Two Girls Talk Transits. The link to fill out the form to join is in there, but you can also just DM us if you want to talk a little bit more about it.
yeah, yeah. So you'll find the link for the application on our Instagram and you put it on our TikTok, right?
Yes, it's on there too.
Yeah, on our TikTok. Yep. So that'll take you to the application that you can fill out and then we'll be in touch.
Yeah. And other than that, you can find me and my work on Instagram at maddie.delray and my website as maddiedelray.com. And what about for you, Kaylee?
You can find me on Instagram at heal.onearth.
All right, y'all. We will see you next week.
See you.